Welcome to Farming Aid. Europe's food system is changing faster than ever, and one question is driving the conversation. What can truly replace beef without sacrificing nutrition, taste, or farmer income? Across the continent, rising feed costs, climate pressure, and shifting consumer demand are pushing agriculture towards smarter, more efficient protein sources. In this video, we break down Europe's food revolution by exploring three powerful animals that are not just alternatives to beef, but serious long-term replacements. These animals are already proving they can deliver high-quality meat with lower costs, faster growth, and a much smaller environmental footprint. If you're a farmer, investor, or simply someone curious about the future of food, this is insight you can't afford to miss. Stick with us as we uncover the real data, the real opportunities, and what this shift means for the next generation of agriculture. And if you want more practical, profit-focused farming insights like this, make sure to subscribe to the Farming Aid channel, hit the like button, and turn on notifications so you never miss what's coming next. The first animal quietly stepping into this role is the rabbit. For generations, rabbit meat has been part of traditional diets in countries like France, Italy, and Spain. But what is changing now is how it is being evaluated through a modern lens of efficiency and sustainability. Rabbits convert feed into protein at a rate that cattle simply cannot match. Where beef cattle require significant land, water, and time to produce a kilogram of meat, rabbits grow rapidly, reproduce quickly, and require far less input. This is not just marginal improvement. It is a structural shift. A well-managed rabbit production system can yield multiple litters per year, with each litter reaching market weight in a fraction of the time it takes to raise a calf. From a farming perspective, this changes everything. Smaller landholders, particularly in regions where pasture quality is declining or fragmented, can maintain viable protein production without the heavy infrastructure associated with cattle. Feed conversion ratios are significantly better, meaning less grain and forage are needed for the same output. In a continent where feed costs are volatile and often tied to global markets, this stability is a major advantage. Rabbits can also be integrated into circular farming systems, consuming agricultural byproducts and contributing manure that enhances soil fertility. Nutritionally, rabbit meat aligns closely with modern dietary trends. It is lean, high in protein, and low in cholesterol compared to beef. This positions it well in a market where consumers are increasingly conscious of health without wanting to give up meat entirely. The challenge, of course, lies in perception. In many parts of Europe, rabbit is still seen as niche or traditional rather than mainstream. But that perception is shifting as younger consumers become more open to alternative proteins, especially when they are presented in familiar formats like sausages, burgers, or ready meals. Beyond the farm and the plate, the environmental case for rabbits is compelling. Greenhouse gas emissions per kilogram of meat are dramatically lower than beef. Land use is more efficient, and water consumption is reduced. As the European Union tightens regulations on emissions and land management, these factors are becoming not just desirable, but necessary. Rabbit farming fits neatly into these evolving frameworks, offering a pathway for farmers to remain compliant while maintaining profitability. While rabbits represent a refined and efficient version of traditional livestock, the second animal pushing Europe's food revolution forward comes from a completely different category: insects, particularly crickets. What once seemed like a fringe concept has rapidly gained legitimacy, supported by regulatory approval and increasing investment. Crickets are emerging as one of the most efficient protein sources available, and their potential to replace beef is grounded in hard data rather than speculation. Crickets require minimal space, making them ideal for urban and vertical farming systems. This is a critical advantage in Europe, where agricultural land is under pressure from urbanization, conservation efforts, and competing uses. A cricket farm can operate in a controlled indoor environment, producing large quantities of protein year-round without dependence on weather or seasonal cycles. This level of control reduces risk and increases consistency, two factors that are highly valued in modern food systems. Feed efficiency is where crickets truly outperform. They convert feed into body mass with remarkable effectiveness, requiring only a fraction of the input needed for cattle. They can also be fed on organic side streams, including food waste and agricultural residues, although regulations around this are still evolving. This opens the door to a more circular economy, where waste is not just reduced, but actively transformed into valuable protein. The nutritional profile of crickets is another strong point. They are rich in high-quality protein, containing essential amino acids comparable to those found in meat. They also provide micronutrients such as iron, zinc, and vitamin B12, making them a viable alternative from a dietary standpoint. In processed form, such as cricket flour, they can be incorporated into a wide range of products without triggering the psychological barriers associated with whole insects. This is already happening in protein bars, pasta, baked goods, and meat analogs. Consumer acceptance remains the primary hurdle, but progress is steady. Education, branding, and product innovation are playing key roles in shifting perceptions. When crickets are presented not as insects, but as a clean, efficient protein ingredient, resistance decreases significantly. Younger demographics, in particular, are more willing to experiment, especially when sustainability is part of the value proposition. Environmentally, crickets offer one of the lowest impact profiles among all protein sources. They produce negligible methane emissions, require very little water, and have a minimal land footprint. In a region where climate policy is increasingly strict, these advantages position crickets as not just an alternative, but a strategic solution. For policymakers and investors, this alignment between environmental goals and economic viability is hard to ignore. The third animal shaping Europe's shift away from beef is the duck, specifically high-efficiency meat duck breeds that are being optimized for modern production systems. Ducks occupy an interesting middle ground between traditional livestock and emerging alternatives. They are familiar to consumers, widely accepted across cultures, and capable of delivering a rich culinary experience that rivals beef in terms of flavor and versatility. What sets ducks apart in this context is their adaptability and efficiency. Ducks can thrive in a variety of environments, including systems that are less suitable for cattle. They are particularly well-suited to integrated farming models, where they can contribute to pest control, nutrient cycling, and diversified income streams. In regions with wetland or marginal land, ducks can turn otherwise underutilized areas into productive assets. Growth rates in modern duck production are impressive. With the right genetics and management, ducks can reach market weight quickly, reducing the time and resources required per unit of meat. Feed conversion is more efficient than cattle, and their diet can include a range of grains and byproducts. This flexibility is valuable in a European context, where feed availability can vary widely between regions. From a culinary standpoint, duck offers a strong advantage over more novel protein sources. It is already embedded in European food culture, from French confit to Central European roasts. This familiarity lowers the barrier to increased consumption. As beef becomes more expensive or restricted due to environmental policies, duck can step in as a premium, yet accessible alternative that does not require consumers to radically change their eating habits. Nutritionally, duck provides a rich source of protein, along with essential fats and micronutrients. While it is higher in fat than rabbit or cricket-based products, this is often seen as a positive in culinary contexts, contributing to flavor and texture. The key is balance and positioning. Duck does not need to replace beef in every application, but it can take over a significant portion of the market where taste and tradition are important. Environmental considerations for duck production are more complex than for rabbits or crickets, but still favorable compared to beef. Ducks produce fewer greenhouse gas emissions than cattle and can be raised in systems that enhance biodiversity and soil health. When integrated properly, they can contribute to regenerative farming practices, aligning with broader European goals around sustainability and land stewardship. Taken together, these three animals represent different pathways toward the same goal: reducing reliance on beef without compromising food security or economic stability. Rabbits offer a highly efficient, scalable solution rooted in traditional livestock systems. Crickets push the boundaries of what is considered food, delivering unmatched efficiency and environmental performance. Ducks provide a culturally accepted, versatile alternative that bridges the gap between old and new. What makes this transformation particularly significant in Europe is the policy environment. Governments and institutions are actively supporting research, innovation, and transition in the food sector. Subsidies, regulations, and public awareness campaigns are all being aligned to encourage lower-impact protein sources. This top-down support accelerates adoption and reduces risk for farmers and businesses willing to make the shift. At the same time, consumer behavior is evolving. There is growing awareness of the environmental impact of food choices, along with increased interest in health and sustainability. This creates a market pull that complements policy push. When consumers are willing to try new products and pay a premium for sustainability, it opens up space for these alternative proteins to compete directly with beef. For farmers, the implications are both challenging and full of opportunity. Transitioning away from cattle is not a simple decision. It involves changes in infrastructure, knowledge, and market relationships. However, the potential rewards are significant. Lower input costs, faster production cycles, and alignment with future regulations can create more resilient and profitable operations. For entrepreneurs and investors, this shift represents one of the most dynamic areas in the food industry. From breeding and genetics to processing and branding, there are opportunities at every stage of the value chain. Companies that can effectively position rabbit, cricket, or duck products in a way that resonates with consumers stand to capture a rapidly growing market. The idea of completely replacing beef may still seem ambitious, but the direction of travel is clear. Europe is not abandoning meat. It is redefining it. By embracing animals that offer better efficiency, lower environmental impact, and strong nutritional value, the continent is building a food system that is better suited to the challenges of the 21st century. Europe's food revolution is no longer a distant idea. It's already taking shape on farms, in research labs, and on dinner plates across the continent. The rise of rabbits, crickets, and ducks shows that the future of protein will not depend on a single solution, but on a smarter mix of animals that deliver more with less. Each of these species brings a unique advantage, whether it's unmatched feed efficiency, minimal environmental impact, or strong consumer acceptance. Together, they form a practical pathway toward reducing dependence on beef without compromising productivity or profitability. What makes this shift so important is not just sustainability, but resilience. Farmers who adapt early position themselves ahead of tightening regulations, rising input costs, and changing market demand. Consumers, on the other hand, gain access to protein sources that align better with health and environmental priorities. This is not about eliminating tradition. It's about upgrading it to meet the realities of today and tomorrow. The real opportunity lies in how quickly this transition is embraced. Those who recognize the potential of these animals now will be the ones shaping the future of agriculture in Europe and beyond. The question is no longer if beef alternatives will take over, but how fast this transformation will happen. If you found this breakdown valuable and want more real-world farming strategies, emerging breed insights, and profit-driven ideas, make sure to subscribe to the Farming Aid channel, like the video, and turn on notifications so you stay one step ahead in the future of farming.